d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7, e4, d6, knight f3, short castle, bishop e2, e5, short castle, knight c6, d5, knight e7, and now knight d2. Before this line was much more popular, and my previous DVDs in the book also I was giving this c6 move, this Lanka's idea, but here I want to point out your attention to the classical move, which is a5 here. It's very natural, while his plan is to jump at some moment to c4 after c5 to try to stop it as fast as possible. This is the plan with b4 and c5. So a5 first, he usually goes a3. Here we cannot block a4 because the pawn will disappear, so we should limit ourselves to knight d7. They go rook b1. Practically nobody can stop them of playing b4, so we do not stop them. Before we allow this b4 and king h8. So this is the basic position. This is the position we should study carefully for black. Here he has several moves, and depending on his moves, we will have different reactions. For example, on queen c2, our idea will be knight g8. And we're still waiting for his reaction here. Usually, knight goes to g8 with one of the main ideas to bring the bishop to h6, but the other knight will come to f6 here. So let's see, if he takes on f5, then gf5. Try to block our pawns with f4, which is very typical for the King's Indian altogether. Then we get back to e7, because we got new ideas. Knight on g6 attacking on f4 and on e5. Bishop b2, ab, knight g6, forcing him to take on e5. And you see we have those two excellent knights. They cooperate very well together, so it was worth spending all this time in order to get this position. Knight b5, bishop d7, king h1, bishop b5, cb, queen e7, rook f5, and now knight f4. Funny, tricky, inviting the rook to f5, which opened the file for our rook, and so we can control already the f4 square. Nice small trick. Bishop e5. Rook f5. If he takes on g7, the mate is hanging on g2, so queen f5, queen e5, queen e5, bishop e5, full compensation. As we said before, computers taught us to appreciate a lot the open files, and this is the case. After queen c2, knight g8, he can also try to play bishop d3. Then our plan, as I said, is to bring the other knight to f6. And if he takes on f5, we take, because if he takes 2 times, we will have a jump to d5, so that's fine. Another move after king h8 is a try to play knight b3 to force us to take. Then we say thank you, because knight on b3, I don't like how it's placed there. So we just take, play knight f6, f3, f4, c5, h5, bishop d2, g5. You already know what we will do. Rook a1, change the rooks, and g4. Queen a5, knight e8, knight b5. Now, after knight b5, even we saw the example after g3 we took on d5, but here we have enough time to take on d5, e5, and after g3, and still he cannot defend against this queen h4. And it's incredible how strong these attacks with g4, g3 are. After king h8, he might try to put the bishop to f3, then we exchange first on b4. AB, AB, and then after knight f6, we exercise. I mean, I don't understand what is his plan, because c5 now already it's even bad because d5 will be weakened. The main line after king h8 is f3, on which also we go knight g8, this plan, queen c2, and knight gf6. This is a little bit interesting, tricky, because this knight tries to hold as long as possible the control over c5, so in order to stop his c5, and the other knight is exercising the pressure on e4. Let's see if he takes on f5. Then we take the pawn. Of course, he cannot take is the queen, because knight d5 is in the picture. If he plays knight b3, then we have to take usually on knight b3 and knight h5, provoking him, asking for him for g3. Then we go with another knight to f6, bishop g5, queen e8. Actually, many times in these situations, the square g6 is very suitable for the queen. Queen e8, bishop h4, queen g6, king h1, because the threat was maybe knight f4 also. e4 now. So this is a typical move by black. Black definitely needs more squares. I mean, now we are fighting for the squares e4 and g4. fe, knight d4, and knight g4. Again, thanks to the open file, we have a full compensation. We have two bishops, nice pieces. Definitely the position is good for us. 18 g3 can be replaced by 18 c5 immediately. This type of situations also should be discussed. Then we play knight f6 and on rook d1, e4. It's quite sharp, but efficient. Because if he takes on e4, then of course he cannot take twice on f4, because the bishop will come to f5 and we will take the rook. So it means that if he cannot take, then we can take ourselves on f3. For example, a knight b5, ef3, bishop f3, and knight g4. The plan is to continue with f4, bishop f5, so the attack is really rich. Well, the main line after 14 knight gf6 for white is to play here bishop d3, but then we transpose to our favorite attack with f4, knight b5, b6, bishop b2, g5, bishop e2, knight e8, because and if he tries to play g4, then we take, and h5. It's very complex game. Well, let's have some conclusion on this altogether, on this classical line, this 9 on d2. First, we have to stop his play with b4 c5 by playing a5. From the other hand, we bring our knight to d7 in order to control c5 and stop also eventual b4 c5. Anyway, he will do it with a3, rook b1 before. This position he gets automatically. On the other side, on the king side, we do play f5, exercising later the pressure on the center. The key maneuver for black, which have to be remembered, is the are the moves king h8, knight g8, so which is very flexible. Sometimes bishop h6 we can play, sometimes knight f6, sometimes even going for the attack with knight df6. Usually the idea is to provoke them to take on f5, then to have the strong pawns center e5 and f5.